Here's how much money you need to actually buy a house. We all know homes are expensive. I don't need to tell you that, but most of that is packed into your mortgage and the monthly payment that you make to the bank every month. But if you were to buy a house right now or start the process of buying a house, how much do you realistically need saved up and how much are you actually paying to buy that house? So here's a settlement statement on a home that I actually just closed. I crossed out any confidential information, just don't worry about that. If you look at the buyer debits, you'll see the purchase price of the property was $690,000. The minimum down payment on a conventional loan is 3%. So consider the purchase price of your property, the house that you want to buy, and then the down payment minimum is 3%. But that is not it. Now, if you go down to loan charges, this is what you would consider your closing costs, but these actually aren't the only part of closing costs. So the loan charges is basically how the lender gets paid. That's what you pay towards the lender. But then there's also your title charges. So there's a title company that runs title, does the title search to make sure that you're able to buy the property. But then there's also the money that you have to pay towards your insurances up front. So you have your closing costs for the loan, you have your closing costs for the title, and then you have to pay for your insurances. Now, the thing is that all of these closing costs are negotiable. So when you're making an offer on a home, you can negotiate to have the seller pay for these closing costs. That's going to save you money out of pocket up front. However, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to do that and the seller is going to be willing to negotiate the closing costs. So you need to have that money saved up. So for this closing in particular, with the purchase price of $690,000, there's a 3% minimum down payment. Plus the $15,000 for title charges, loan charges, the insurances, that comes out to about $35,000. Not every closing is the same. Some closing costs are more expensive, some are cheaper, but in general, you need about 5 to 6% of the total purchase price of the home that you want to buy saved up in order to buy a house. So if you take the average home price here in the United States, which is around $400,000 to make it easy, if you save 5 to 6% of $400,000, that's how much you need for the 3% down payment plus the additional closing costs. That comes out to $20,000 to $24,000. So that's how much you'll need saved up in your bank account to be comfortable in order to buy a home with the cash out of pocket.